Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Progmagic. So he will be giving Pokemon a new split evolutions that evolve again. Wait, did I say he would be? No, I meant his fans would. So now it's time to see if who was selected, redrawn, and I guess pokerized. Whatever. Let's just hop in and enjoy ourselves. I am not big. Oh well, whatever.
I challenged you all to make new split evolutions for these 5 Pokemon, and then make that evolution evolve, just like Dipplin and Hydrapple. In this video, I'm going to go over my favorite entries and announce which one I picked to feature in the DLC for the Devar region. So let's start with...
Snorunt.
Snorunt had a wide variety of how people chose to evolve it, which makes sense given Snorunt's evolutions are so different from it. Some chose to go a unique route, such as Bullrunt and Cremana by Lemon on Twitter.
Okay.
Bullrunt is pretty clearly based on a bowl of ice cream, but more specifically, Kulfi, a denser form of Indian ice cream which melts slower due to it not being churned while frozen.
Oh, I
allowing it
like
to be
that.
both served in a bowl and on a stick. Cremana adds in the inspiration of ice cream vendors and clerics, which as someone who won't shut up about D&D, it gives me an excuse to mention it. I really appreciate the research that went into these two, given that one of these entries will ultimately be featured in Devar. Then we have Frostimp and Restcramp by Franklin Fakemon on Instagram. These two are inspired by goats, imps, torches, and most importantly, Krampus. I thought these were super interesting, and honestly, you could just take Snorunt out of the equation here, and these would be a solid evolution line on their own.
That
For
is
another
true.
unique evolution to Snorunt, we have Ice Kit and Axel Ice, a couple of Ice Fairy types by Gnarly on Discord.
Oh.
They follow Snorunt's facial features, but incorporate elements of Glalie.
No, I actually kind of like this one, because if you think about it, with Galay, the one under me, I think that's what, yeah, Galay. It's pretty much what happens if a Snorunt is just angry at the snow. Oh, just hates it. That's why it's like a snowball, which, is technically used in snowball fights, i.e. war. Then you have Frostlass, which is what would happen to someone that died in the snow, especially with the origin of it. So it would actually make sense for the third route to be having fun in the snow, which would be an Ice Skater. Oh, so you have death, fun, and war. I actually like this one a lot. Nice.
And Frostlass in a very fun way, while bringing in ice skating as an inspiration. Snorunt evolves into Ice Kit by skating on 500 ice tiles, and Ice Kit evolves into Axel Ice by using triple axel 3 times while holding a moonstone, which are just specific enough evolution methods to be interesting but not a complete drag to do. And I want you to drag your mouse or finger down to those like and subscribe buttons. Also, make sure to leave a comment on which of these evolutions is your favorite. On the other end of the evolution spectrum, many chose to follow Snorunt's design closer than its other evolutions. Like these designs by Grandstar, Minior Stargazer, Mr. Flamtastic, Pangili the Silly, Cosmic Here, and It's Ed on Discord, and Stala.png, Ozioni, and Toxkey on Twitter. They all use Snorunt's design traits to launch into various directions creatively. Some additional designs I wanted to highlight are Shuffit and Tempiety by my default account on Discord, which uses Snorunt's design to become a Nepalese temple, a design that is super fit for Devar, especially in Himendapu, though I already have a Yeti Pokemon line in Devar, so this one couldn't be included in the region. And then we have Snorzy and Snuglu by Milchick on Discord, which turns Snorunt into a Kotatsu and then an Igloo, combined with a traditional Inuit Parka. That makes them both Ice-Fire type, which makes complete sense.
I love it.
I especially like Snorzy because it changes the snow part of the name from Snow to Snore. Some designs that maintain Snorunt's aspects but decided a second head was necessary are Snowkey and Snowkiji by Mavo Region Dex, Keyglaze and Bafakata by Unknown Monster Creator
what the hell?
And finally Futatuo and Burrowbury by Studer Blenderdoft by Studio Blenderdost, which are all on Instagram. Each of these are fun in such a wacky and very Pokemon way. I could go into detail about each, but we'd be here all day. Truly, everyone went ham on these Snorunt evolutions in the best way. And it surprised me how popular Snorunt was as an entry.
Next, Clamperl
was the second most varied Pokemon in terms of evolutions. Similar to Snorunt, some went for an atypical approach given the existence of Huntail and Gorbis. A lot of y'all went crazy with the different types of sea creatures Clamperl evolved into. Designs like Oracle and Sibamanta by Ink to Paper on Discord, and No Shell and Clutches by O.R.Ash on Twitter are great examples of Clamperl evolutions that go in unique directions like Huntail and Gorbis.
These actually all kind of cool.
Channel the psychic power Clamperl is said to have. And can I just say, a psychic oarfish named Oracle is an incredible pun.
I like that
clutches
pun.
combine a mermaid and a manatee or sea cow, which are said to be the animals sailors mistook for mermaids.
Yeah,
Evolving
it would
via
be
a pearl
believable.
string and having the name Clutches, as in clutching your pearls, is so clever. There were also those who, similar to Dipplin, started closer to Clampearl's design, then used that as a springboard into something new, such as Conetot and Sunhydra by Amy and the Muffin Boy on Instagram, Burncurl and Paroil by TechCharge, and Clampify and Cosmore by Dis on Discord.
Oh, whoa, hold on. I can't go big because I would cover it up, but this one and the Cosmore, I actually like that one a lot because this is actually a black gulpal eel. Well, it's one of the only sea creatures that doesn't really have a bottom to its mouth or a stomach because it can swallow things like 10 times its size. I'm not kidding. The thing would just go up to something, swallow it whole, and its stomach would just expand until it digests or rots. I'm not kidding.
I love how Conetot acts like the cocoon stage of a bug-type line. I think it's really fun when Pokemon does this for non-bug types like Pupitar, Shelgon, or Cosmoa. Burncurl and Paroil do the same thing where a Sea Angel is born from the shell, which fully abandons the water type. Sea Angels are also called sea butterflies, which plays further into the whole cocoon thing. Clampify and Cosmore, excellent names by the way, harness the growing psychic energy of Clampearl to create an eel of cosmic proportions. Also, the dex entries of these two are wild, so pause and give them a read. Then once again, we had those who followed Clampearl's clamness. Anyway, these designs by Julian on Twitter and Metallic Papillon on Discord are great examples of how to apply the Dipplin and Hydrapple design philosophy onto Clampearl. Clampink and Vinaker do the whole cocoon thing, but end up making it a reference to the Roman goddess Venus, which is such a clever use of Clampearl's shell and something I could 100% see Pokemon doing. Sparklerl and Hodalady evolved the concept of Clampearl, but also feature aspects of Huntail and Gorobus to make a wholly new concept.
Very clever.
I mean this as a compliment, it very much feels like Digimon Jogressing or DNA Digivolution, where parts of those monsters are combined to make a brand new design. Except for Shakuamon.
Yeah.
All my homies hate Shakuamon.
Yeah. Tyrogue.
Entries for Tyrogue more or less followed a similar design philosophy, which makes sense given each of its evolutions are humanoid and have to do with some form of martial arts. Yet entries still manage to have some eccentric designs. I put these entries into their own subcategories. The first is martial arts based, in which we have these entries by Noob CSM and fellow Fakemon YouTuber Brush with Death on Instagram, as well as Alij the Ace and Liam on Discord. Hitmonfu and Hitmonchi are based on Kung Fu and Chi, and I'm fairly certain Hitmonjet and Hitlong are as well, with Hitmonjet also being a reference to the famous martial artist Jet Li. Hitmonma and Luminora are based on Gleema, an old Nordic fighting style that resembles wrestling, and as such are also based on Vikings.
Oh, please tell me someone actually went the sumo route. Please!
Parasharuk are inspired by Kalari Payattu, a 2,300-year-old martial art originating from modern-day Kerala in India. Parasharuk also takes inspiration from the Indian god Parashurama, who is the 6th avatar of the preserver god Vishnu and acts as the destroyer of evil.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
With Bolrunt and Cremana, I really appreciate the research and forethought put into this design. The next category is, of course, non-martial arts based.
Damn it, no sumo then.
Properly on Twitter, as well as Mint and Domo on Discord, fall under this category. With him.
Okay, I like that Rockstar one over there, because this guy over here, hold on, this guy looks like he could just go full on Johnny Bravo. I know he's meant to be like an Elvis design, but I could just see this guy doing the whole, hey, pretty mama. Love it!
Hitmonblock and Hitmonleague being soccer or football inspired, Novinja and Hitmonobi being ninja inspired, and Hitmonpop and Hitmoncore being pop music, Michael Jackson, and Elvis inspired.
Love it, knew it.
The is so wacky and I love it, though Hitmonblock looks like it wants to steal my lunch money. The last category is banger middle evolutions. For this, we have entries by Sinister Sauce and Horatio Arcus on Instagram, as well as Bruh Jonathan.
There it is! Hold on! No! Yes! They actually did kind of go sumo, I think! Yes! Someone did go sumo!
Milchick on Discord. I tried to limit this video to 1 entry per person, but Hitrogue was just too good to not include, and I just love Snorzy so much that I couldn't pick between them, so Milchick, you are 2 for 2 on middle stages here. Hitrogue is such a great step up from Tyrogue, incorporating design elements from each of the Hitmons in such subtle ways. My only note is that I think it should be called Tough Rogue. Tyrogue, Tough Rogue, Rough Rogue flows much better in my opinion, and you can reference the rough and tough. Horatio's Hitmoncala is an excellent middle stage as well, and I don't usually comment on this kind of thing, but the rendering on these designs is next level. It feels just like Sugimori style. My only issue is that Hitmonpayatu feels a bit too much like Metacham for me to include it in the Devar region.
Yeah, a
Given
little.
I've already made a new evolution for Metatite. I really enjoy what Sinister Sauce did with Tyrussel. It heavily reminds me of the Ultimate Muscle Show, especially Alexandria Meat. Taishomo is also just an excellent transition stage to Sarouge. I like its little ponytail and big hands.
Scyther.
Scyther had so many cool evolutions, it was insanely difficult to narrow them down. So, I did it. Here we have designs by
Here we go.
Art, Raid Bum, Ethics77, Cosmic Surge, and Hero on Discord, as well as Triptid and Mulchiberry on Twitter, and Just the Dex, 100 Jams, and fellow FakeMonTuber The Panio on Instagram.
Damn, this is
I just
a
found
lot.
cool for a variety of reasons, including design inspirations, design choices, and overall edginess.
I can't even
could
look
go
at them
into
all.
What I loved about each single one of these entries, but once again, we'd be here all day. Also, many of these designs had elements that are meant to complete an evolution trio with Caesar and Cleavor, being the official paper to their rock and scissors. In the case of Orange's entry, it makes a new theme of the Stone, Bronze, and Iron Ages. And
I like
Red Bum's
that.
entry has 2 horns to match the 1 of Cleavor and the 3 of Caesar.
That's
You all
pretty good.
really popped off with the India research done for these evolutions, specifically the Panio, Just the Dex, 100 Jams, and Cosmic Surge's entries. The last 2 were
Nice.
extremely close to being my picks for the Devar region, as well as Mulchiberry's entry, but that distinction will be given to one of the entries from our last Pokemon that needs to evolve.
Charcadet.
Charcadet evolves into some incredibly cool Pokemon, 2 of my absolute favorites of Gen 9. So it stands to reason that
It is
fan-made
pretty good.
evolutions would be just as cool. And whoo boy did y'all deliver! Standouts on Discord include Drago the Komodo's shield-based entry,
Ooh.
Venom's Trident
Shield.
and Poseidon-inspired entry,
Son of a... Okay, who made the Chainsaw Man? And I'm not upset. Juno, you made the Chainsaw Man. I love it.
and Juno's Chainsaw Man evolutions. Amazing submissions on Instagram include
Oh, damn,
the
that's pretty
Necromantic
good.
evolutions by Shiny Gaza that have a very spooky D&D aesthetic to them, the Sir Gawain and the Green Knight inspired entry by Hashi Joshi, which
Ooh.
also gives me Headless Horseman or Doulahan vibes,
Definitely
and the
Doulahan.
Locksme inspired evolutions by EJ Fakemon. I really love the concept of it doffing its armor upon evolution. There are a few entries in a similar vein that use their armor to transform into something new upon evolution, such as Pokemon Form Edition Shieldero and Caslyro. Jewel-encrusted shields transforming a knight into the very castle it's meant
It's
to
the
protect.
Rook.
Chef's kiss. Antler Andy's Aquatail and Murmarine in its final stage turns its armor into a
Actually, that would actually make a lot of sense. Because if you think about, you got the oh wait, never mind. Never mind. I was about to say something that doesn't really walk.
mermaid tail, which is giving Power Rangers Battleizer in the best possible way. Speaking of, Beelz's Fushidin and Magentar remind me so heavily of how Korag fuses with Catastros to make the Centaur Megazord in Power Rangers Mystic Force. Taking the lance of the previous stage and making that into the horn is just so clever, and I love it. Then we have Shilvori and Shikari Maya. While the names could use a little work, the designs and inspirations behind them are so perfect. Having a multi-headed final stage that combines aspects of Indian culture as well as Cyrilege and Armarouge, simply fantastic work. This was another one that was so close to being my pick to include in the Devar region, but I already have a Shiva-inspired Pokemon in Devar as the legendary, and my choice did a similar thing to this concept in a way that feels much more true to the design philosophy of Dipplin and Hydrapple in my opinion. So with that said, the design that will be included throughout the Devar DLC is, drumroll please,
Here we go.
Indiglaive and Onglaive by Artist Zaymons on Instagram. The way this design incorporates both the weapons and colors of Cyrilege and Armarouge, but twists them slightly to make a lance and shield is just so inventive. It also fully inspired me to change part of the DLC's story. And ultimately, that's what I look for when making choices in these challenges. What inspires me the most. Congrats to Zaymons, and a huge thank you to everyone who participated in this challenge. I really hope you had fun, even if your entry didn't make it in this video. And another massive thank you to our members for giving that extra support to the channel. Most especially our art mages Living Lava, Bailey Pennington, and William Hartya. See you later!
And that is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this moment to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of you next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.